Hello, Empowered Woman. Welcome to this episode of the Empowered Woman podcast. Today, I'll be sharing part of my most recent training called the 10K Launch Debrief. Before I talked about the scoop on how to create magnetic content that converts, in this training, I opened up by talking about the 3 most common mistakes or things that get overlooked in a launch, preventing you from reaching 10K. Are you overlooking these things? Tune in to find out. Also, if you want to listen to the rest of the training, because this is just half of it, you will have to register at marchasburke.com/debrief to receive the replay in its entirety. It's a video with all the slides and all of it. So if you're ready to start creating content that converts, go on and watch this training and or join my new self-paced program called Magnetic Content Creation System. All the links are in the show notes. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on personal growth, visibility, and profit for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to start believing in yourself, giving yourself permission to succeed, and let your voice be heard to make an impact in the world as an entrepreneur, this is the place for you. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Launch Debrief, and I'm your host, triplet mom, woman empowerment coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
Yay! Welcome, everyone. I am so excited that you joined me. So much excitement for this training. I was excited already, but then all the excitement on top of it, I was like, oh man, people do want to hear about this and learn this. So it got me even more pumped. So the idea behind all of this is obviously the 10K is super sexy and attractive. So that's like, get you there. That's the hook, right? I want to make $10,000. I want to launch and have $10,000 as a return. But really, the focus here is helping you understand how powerful your content is, and you should be able to use your content alone as a way to drive people to buy your stuff, as a way to make sales, right? Oh man, I've went the ads route. I've gone the sending messages route. And ultimately, not that I don't send messages, not that I would never do ads again. Ultimately, it is the content that gets people to trust me and that gets people to see what I'm about and my personality and the consistency of the content, which is all that I'm going to be talking about. Because at times people are like, well, it works for you because you're flabbergasting extraordinaire. I'm not like that, so it's not going to work for me. But everything that I teach really is about empowerment. You should know this about me. It's you making it your own. And not needing somebody else as a crutch to help you, not needing to every single waking moment have to go and ask a coach what you need to do. And in fact, the best coaches are the ones that give you some pointers and then say, what is your heart telling you? What is your gut telling you? Because if you don't know how to tap into that, it's going to be a rockier road than it's already going to be, right? So we need to be able to listen to that. Aw, thanks, ladies. It was an amazing shoot. Yay. I'm so excited because I'm going to be using one of these shots for my upcoming book. So stay tuned. So I wanted to start with this. This is something that I came up with earlier in the week as I was preparing a coaching call. And I was like, this is genius. I need to share this in the presentation. People have a hard time remembering that they're loved, valuable, and capable. Everyone, all of us. Can you agree to that? Show of hands. Do you forget? People tell you you're amazing. 2 minutes later, you're like, I suck. Right? It doesn't last. It doesn't stick. So when you choose to become a part of the reminder process, reminding people, hey, you got this. Hey, you're amazing. You automatically stand out. So when you think about reaching this income milestone for your business, really think about what you're doing is not so much the money. It's you reinforcing something in people's lives that they should already be reminding themselves of naturally, but they forget. So that is worth money right there, right? That reminder, that's why people pay for coaching. That's why people pay for programs, is because they need to be reminded of these things. And this is what your content should be doing. So sharing your unique story with simplicity. So it has to be your uniqueness and your personal experience, because that's what builds the trust factor. And then vulnerability, you're going to have to talk about some of the crappy stuff because that humanizes you. It makes and gives people hope. Oh, so you did struggle at one point. Okay. So you're not superstar, right? You had to overcome something, and with kindness, right? So showing people appreciation, showing people that they do matter. So everything comes together is the profitable strategy for your business. So we run around looking for the thing that's going to be it, that's going to get us to that income level, that's going to get us to that place where people really trust our wisdom and want to invest in us. And we usually look for the complex because we fail to see that the simple is what actually works, right? It's just so simple that it's too good to be true. And that's why we fall prey to the gimmicks, right? But really, it's this simple, is when you share your heart authentically, vulnerably, with kindness, and remind people of their greatness. Why? Because we're all egocentric. We're all thinking about ourselves, right? So if you go against the grain, if you swim against the natural current of humanity and take the time to remind people that they're amazing as they are right now, that's what motivates them to invest in you, because you see them, right? You see them for who they are. That's what we're all looking for. Isn't that why we're attracted to friends, to spouses, to communities, is when we feel like we belong and like we see. If you're able to do that with your content, that's it. You don't need so much the ads, right? You don't need so much hunting down, because they already see your heart through the things that you say and do. So for those of you who don't know me, which I don't know if there are any of you who don't really know me, but I have to do the intro. I am the founder of several frameworks and programs, and a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today has a lot to do with the clarity that I gained in the creation of these programs. So the Engage to Serve method, which has to do with creating content and repurposing. A little bit of what I'm going to be sharing today, the Empowered Women School, which is my membership. Some of the ladies that are in here have already been a part of it or are still members, which is continued support and accountability to grow your business by looking at your most valuable asset, yourself. The Empowered Woman podcast. If you haven't tuned into the podcast, do yourself a favor. Lots of amazing content and interviews. And also Show Up Empowered, which was my first group program that I launched earlier this year, all about content creation and really nailing down your ideal client and all that stuff, and showing up and being consistent. So let me see here a show of hands as well. This is a very important part of the process. And as you will see, once I start talking about the specific steps that you should be taking in your content to attract that income, is you need to help people see themselves in your content. They need to self-identify, right? So I'm already doing it. It's very, very meta. So I'm doing it to you because it works. And then I'm encouraging you to do what I'm doing. That's the gist of it. Okay. So I want you to tell me if you resonate with this, that in terms of creating content to promote your business and your offers, you've tried a few different things and ultimately it hasn't really worked, or it worked for a while and then it stopped working, like batching content. I'm going to create for a whole month, or I'm going to create for a week, or sticking to a calendar. Maybe you got some templates and you got some stuff and then you tried for a while. And then you felt the fear of overposting. You felt the fear of oversharing, right? What if people think I'm inconvenient? I'm just too over the top. This is overkill. And then you stop yourself from making offers regularly, right? Just over the weekend, I talked to someone that was just, breaking into tears saying, I just don't understand. People tell me that they love me. They just don't invest. And then friends calling them out and saying, you're not really making offers. I don't see you talking about it. Like, our perception of what we're doing is so skewed. Like, we think we're doing something. And then that's why it's important to surround yourself with other entrepreneurs to call you out and say, friend, nobody even knows what you're doing. Right. And so you have no idea how you would reach 10K months. I would love a show of hands. And part of the process, yay, thank you for the honesty. Part of the process is being honest with yourself. I've lived in denial for so many years of like, no, I got this. No, I got this. Like, I would hire coaches and I wouldn't even tell them the whole truth. Don't get me started. I always like to use the example of House, the show, the doctor show thing, whatever, the show House, that many, many times they couldn't figure out the diagnosis or what was it because people didn't tell the whole truth. How can you be helped if you're not going to say what's going on. It's because we're afraid of being, a failure. We're afraid of admitting that we don't know what we're doing. But when you're able to admit that you don't know what you're doing, that's when people can help you. And when you're able to admit that openly to your audience, that's when they're drawn to you too. Because it's like, oh, great. So you don't have it all together and you're still making progress. Amazing. There's hope for me. All right. And then there's this other camp, but maybe you're a little mix of both. Maybe you are consistent. And this is where you get into the resentment mode, which was me for a long time. People engage, but they don't invest. You make offers. So it's not that you're not talking about it. You're constantly talking about it, but then crickets. And then you get frustrated and then you get resentful and then you start hating your audience. Has anyone ever experienced that? You people don't know what you're thinking. You don't even know how amazing I am. And then you're like in this place of shitty feelings that nobody should be in, right? You're hating the economy, you're hating the algorithm. Facebook is my problem, or my spouse is my problem. Like you start pointing fingers, and maybe you have been making 3 to 5 K consistently, but it's just like, man, I can't get over this hump for whatever reason. Why am I stuck? So maybe this is you, maybe it's a mix, right? Sometimes you fall off and sometimes you're consistent and then you fall off because you didn't get the results that you were hoping for. Now, here's my disclaimer before we get into the actual content creation part. I have to talk about offers. I have to talk about the timeline. And I also have to talk about your current situation with your audience. Because it's easy for me to come here and say, create these pieces of content and go your merry way and make $10,000. But if I don't know the specifics on these other things, I'm literally setting you up for potential failure. Okay? And this is what I experienced a lot in my journey, listening to trainings and buying programs, is that I would do everything that they were telling me. Like I pride myself in being an A+ student. And that's why entrepreneurship has been challenging for me, because it's not just taking a test or studying, taking a test and acing it. That's what I used to do in my school life. Like, you want me to take this test? I'm going to study. I'm going to memorize. I'm going to make this amazing. And then you get into entrepreneurship and it's not so much like that, because there's so many more variables and it's not a standardized test, right? And it's your personal journey. So you can hire these people, but their journey's different. And it's like, it's not the same. So why isn't it working? So then I started noticing, oh, this is why. It's not that what they taught me didn't work. So I started losing a little bit of the resentment from the coaches that I hired, and they told me it would work and it didn't. It's not that it doesn't work. It's that these other pieces were not in place. And now that I understand these other pieces, things are happening and happening a lot faster. And it took me a while. And something else that I want to say to you that made me so excited about doing this training is that so many times, most times, we wish we were farther along than we were. And then when things start working, we're like, why didn't I do this 3 years ago? Like, what was I thinking? I'm an idiot. And that's not a good place to be in either. Why? Because your specific journey and the things that you struggled with, they're part of your experience that you can impart to your clients. It is all important, because if you hadn't gone through that, you wouldn't have had this experience. Does this make sense? So me coming here and telling you you can reach $10,000 months is very different from another entrepreneur who had a different journey. Like, I have so much more authority in telling you this because I legit struggled for pretty much 3 to 4 years. Okay. So I'm so excited to share this because it's not like it happened overnight. And the very reason that didn't happen overnight gives you hope, right? Because if it hasn't happened for you overnight, and I'm telling you that I struggled for a long time and something finally clicked, then this is the experience and the journey that I'm sharing to help you understand that this is possible and it's available for you. All right. So let's talk about offers. I don't know because I know several people that have gone through Tribe signed up for this. I don't know if there are any of you that have done Tribe. So Tribe is a course that is pretty much focused on memberships, but it's more than just memberships. It's a whole business foundation. There's marketing. I learned so much from that course, but the focus of the course was you're going to have recurring income with a membership, and that should be your main source of income. It's not necessarily like that. That's what it said, but it's the hope of, man, if I incorporate a membership into my business, I can make several $1,000s by having several thousand members. And I don't really have to worry about one-on-one. I don't really have to worry about these other things. And that is true for some people, depending on the journey of their own business. And that's what I saw a lot. People would launch for the first time, zero audience, zero mailing list, and they would get like 100 people to sign up for a $27 membership. And so that was the image that I had. Man, I'm going to follow exactly what this guy is telling me, and I'm going to get 100 people to sign up. So if you think 100 people at $27, which is like, that's what they recommend, is being a lower price point, right? And it's recurring. So you don't have to make so many offers all of the time because those people are staying ideally, right? And so if you get 100 people and the next time you launch, you get another 100 people, that's an amazing model. I agree. It's amazing. The problem was I started doing it. And even with doing a big launch, super preparation of like several days, email sequence, even ads and all of that, I got 10 people. And then when you compare with these other people that get 100, you're like, what did I miss? Like, what's going on? Why didn't I get 100 people like all these other people, you know? And then I started noticing that, yes, having a membership is great, but maybe based on my audience and based on what I'm offering, this is not what's going to yield me the 100 member launch. So what is something else that I can offer that will get me there? Right. And I didn't know. And I was just thinking and moving on over and trying to fight my feelings of failure and thoughts of this will never work for me, all that stuff. So there's lots in the journey. It's not, just so simple like that. And then, or you could have other offers that are like a group program that's more of a mid-range, right? So if you're charging around 300 to 500, it is more expensive, but it's a finite period of time. You're not going to be making this money monthly, right? But it is a little bit more money. So if you get 10 people at $500, that is a lot more than if you get 10 people as a membership. Does this make sense? It's math, right? But it's the same process of you launching a program, of you creating an event, creating a mailing list. But something that I noticed, especially with my specific audience, is that there's the risk factor. What if I signed up for this, even if it's $27? It's so much mindset. But I can come to the calls. I don't have time to go and look at the portal and absorb all the information. So it's not so much that it's cheap, so I'll just sign up. They already create the future problems, right? I'm not going to be able to fully take advantage of it. I'm not, so I'm not going to pay 27. And then in your mind, and I see this with clients all the time. They're like, $27? People just hate me. Why wouldn't they just pay to check it out? But it's not you. It's the model. It's what it entails. Okay. Now, when you think a group program, you have a very specific promise and you say, this is 6 weeks. It's a different type of mindset. People are like, I can set 6 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever your group is, in my calendar. I can commit to this and I will have lifetime access. And then it doesn't matter that it is $500 or whatever it is, because they're thinking to themselves, I'm dedicating to that specific amount of time. It's not the commitment and marriage of a membership, even if I know I can cancel it at any time. Is this making any sense? It's really mindset. And then you have a self-paced course that could be low to mid because you're not there with the calls. So it's a little bit cheaper, but again, people have access. So there's the pros and cons of there's so many courses that I buy and I never listen to or watch. If you don't have the live calls, it doesn't really create the urgency for them to participate, even if they end up not participating, but they know that there is a call. Isn't that insane? It already changes the way that we think. If you buy something that there is no accountability for you to actually show up, then you may not want to buy it because you've done it before and you didn't do anything with it. Okay. And then there's the one-on-one. I will just say this in advance. I do not recommend doing a launch for one-on-one. Why? Because it's going to be super expensive. Ideally, please don't undervalue yourself. And then people that are coming to a free event, are less likely to be the people that are willing to pay more to advance faster. And that is actually something I was thinking about yesterday, is that ever since I started growing more, I haven't been coming as much to free events, because if I know I need something, I just buy it. I'm like, I already know that I need this and I have the money to buy it. I don't need to spend an hour of my time, which is so counterintuitive here as you're coming here to my 1 hour event. But I'm just being honest with you. It comes to a point where you're like, I trust myself. I know I need this. I know it's worth the investment. I know this mentor. I don't have to come to the courtship of their free event. I'm ready to get married. Okay. But we need to have these different things in place for our audience if they're not ready to marry us right away. And there are different people, different levels, and different things. So think about these and think about the times that you may have launched with an offer that wasn't setting yourself up for a big return income-wise because of the very offer. And this changes with time, right? So this has been my journey. I started doing lots of launches for the membership, started noticing, this doesn't yield me as much for the work of putting on a whole event, right? So maybe I should do launches with things that cost more. But if you're just starting out with your business, this is what I encourage my clients to do. You've never even done a live webinar. Are you setting yourself up for success? And again, it really depends on your audience. But are you setting yourself up for success if you've never gone live? If you launch an offer that's like $5,000, like nobody's going to buy. And then you're going to be like, I suck. I'm quitting my business. Okay. So I usually recommend do your webinar and launch a workshop that's going to happen a week later. That's going to be around $50 or $90. It's easier for people to commit to these kinds of things than to say, marry me today for $5,000 for a one-on-one program. You know, it just doesn't match. And it really depends on you gauging where you are in your journey to see what people would respond to. I have launched higher ticket stuff that didn't work out and people ended up wanting to come into the membership. So all of these failed attempts, which weren't really failures, they were lessons, they have taught me these things that I'm sharing with you today. So when you're thinking, I really want this 10K launch, you have to make sure your offer is supporting that. Because if you're selling something for $27, how many people do you need to sign up for you to make $10,000? Is that realistic based on your audience right now? Okay. So something else, I guess I should have talked about the audience beforehand, but let's talk about time. Something else is the runaway time. I've experimented with many different things. I've done 24-hour sales because I didn't want to stress myself with a longer period of time. And I also didn't want to wait a longer period of time and then not have people sign up. So I'm like waiting and nothing's happening, you know? So I tried 24 hours because it's like urgency. You have to do it now. And then I started noticing that oftentimes that is not enough time for people in their busy lives to see the value of what I'm doing, right? So if you do a 24-hour sale, like if J-Lo does a 24-hour sale, that's different, right? Because some people live and breathe J-Lo. So if she comes out with something, she's going to get a lot of people that are going to buy right away because they're literally dedicating several hours of their day to seeing what she's up to. If you're working specifically with audiences like I do with entrepreneurs, they're bombarded with information all of the time, or anyone really at this day and age, they're busy with other things. So give them some time. I've tried 3 to 5 days. And I love the 7 to 10 days or even sometimes 14-day range. Why? Because that's when my content does the job for me. I keep showing up. I am consistent. I repurpose and touch on different angles of why this program is going to be beneficial to you. You see it several times. And if you didn't have a chance to see it because algorithm or because you were busy, you will eventually see it. Because if it's something that's been proven with research that it takes a certain amount of times for people to see something, to buy something, why wouldn't you give them that amount of times and not just wait for them to stumble upon it? You're increasing your chances of them seeing it, right? And then rotating your offers. So this is something else. Doing these launches, but rotating your offers. So that's why it's important that you not only have something low ticket like a membership, something mid-ticket like a program, and your one-on-one, it's important that you rotate them. so that you're constantly making offers. You're constantly selling something. But it's fun because it's not the same. And that's something that I understood when I was focusing so much on my membership. Every month, I would do a call out, join my membership. And then I didn't know how to spice it up and make it interesting. Because if I'm calling you to join my membership every month, you're just going to put it off because you know I'm going to invite you next month. You make sense? There has to be some kind of urgency to it. So when you rotate your offers, you're bringing it top of mind to say, this is the time to buy this. So you're actually making it easier for people because they don't have to go to your website and browse and decide what they're going to sign up for. You're telling them, this is what we're focusing on now. Are you interested? Okay, cool. Next month, well, maybe you missed out on the other one. This is something else that I have in place. And this is how I've been getting one-on-one clients without having to get discovery calls, without having to harass people. People are seeing me all of the time. Maybe they're signing up for programs or maybe they're not. As soon as I say, I have spots open for one-on-one, they've been following me. They're like, now is my time. I'm just making it obvious for them, making it relevant for them. So consider the runaway time of your promotion period because people are busy. So if you don't give them enough time, don't take it personally that they didn't see the value. They didn't see it, period. They needed some more time. Oh, what was that? I put 2 slides. I don't know what I did. And now the audience. So that's something also important to consider if you're going for a 10K launch is, are you making consistent sales? Right? So if you are not making your offers and you're not really making your sales, me coming here and telling you, follow all these steps, friend, and tomorrow you're going to have 10K is very hypercritical of me and very deceiving. You have to be thinking about this as well, right? People in your circle, your audience needs to know what you do. Do they know what you do? Are they familiar with your business? Because that's something else that I heard a lot through the years. It's like, well, I love you. I love your smile in your pictures, Marta, but how do you help your clients? And I'm like, man, I guess it's not clear. And for some people, it's not going to be clear. So don't take it too personally, but you may not be sharing it clearly enough so that they understand how they can pay you. Can they easily pay you? If somebody goes to your profile, finds your website, hopefully there's a link there. Can they find a way to just buy something from you right now if they wanted to? Because if not, that's a problem, right? Because what if they love you and your website and some of your copy and they want to do something and they can't? You have to create ways for people to engage with you right away. Amazing, Stacy. So consider that because that's what I have is my membership because it's my lower ticket thing. Are you interested? You love me already? Come on in. Join me for the ride. So that's what I have there. The other stuff is based on my little rotation and I want to increase and put some more details on my website too, but have something, okay? Or in your social media, are you paying attention to your bio? Are you adding the links? Are you making it easy for people? This is really the heart of it is, are you making it easy for them? Because people are busy. And that's where we create ads, we send out emails, we have people sign up for our mailing list. Why? Because we wanted to make it easy for them to find us, to find the freaking link, to put their credit card information on there. If none of this is in place, then the 10K is a little unrealistic. Do you see what I mean? So it's the type of offer, it's the time that you're giving them to take a chance on you and make the decision to marry you with their money. And are you nurturing your audience? Do they actually know you exist? Because then you can't sit and pout if none of these things are in place. Okay. So these are let me know if these disclaimers were helpful for you to be like, oh shoot, that's why it didn't work that time. And I was so resentful and I thought the world was out to get me. Awesome, Kitty. Amazing. All right. So on to magnetic content. Who's ready to talk about magnetism? Okay. So leveraging the power of your content and repetition. That's very important to empower and convert. So the heart of magnetic content really is the repetition, but also the empowerment that comes through because you believe in yourself so much and in your offer and in the value that you have, that they start believing you too.
How's that for a little teaser of this amazing training? I hope you got some amazing value as I shared these 3 common mistakes or disclaimers that you may have overlooked when launching and the reason why you have maybe not reached your 10K launch yet. Like I said, if you want to continue listening to the training where I outline how exactly to create magnetic content once you have those 3 things in place, you will have to go to marchesburke.com/debrief to catch the replay of the training. The link is in the show notes. And if you want to just go on and get all the help that you can get with scripts, slides, pretty much get all the overwhelm and procrastination out of the way to start creating content that will magnetize your ideal clients, just sign up for my Magnetic Content Creation System program. The link is also in the show notes. Until next time, bye.